Yes. We're live now. John, you hear me?
Yes.
How you doing?
Can you hear me well?
Yeah, I can hear now.
All right. Awesome.
Good morning.
Morning. How are you?
Good. Awesome. So today I'm happy we're gonna be doing the fourth installment of the Clean Coder. So if you're joining us, welcome. And we're really sorry for the LinkedIn family. We messed up the stream timing, so something fell apart. So we had to delete the LinkedIn stream link. So you can join us through YouTube, and I've also posted on our LinkedIn channel. So welcome. Hopefully this is not too disrupting for you, but we'll see how we can make that up for you. So I just want to introduce this. So if you're joining us like on this fourth installment, still you'll get something from it, but you can go back and watch from part 1. It's I'll link all those right there in the description of YouTube post. And look out for our recording. This won't be a live recording, but it will be a post recording of a 15-minute synthesis of everything that we've discussed, like a takeaway, mainly like from John saying what the book has done to him, basically as a software engineer. What are the main pieces in that book? Like what are the main things that you takeaways from that book for him? And hopefully this will be an inspiration for you to go ahead and read the book. So without further ado, I would like to bring in John. I see you have your page ready. But then, John, I'm wondering between that, go back to the other view. Between that view and try and zoom in on that view. I find this to be better. Like at least people can, maybe zoom in a bit more even. Though you'll need to be scrolling, but I don't think that's a better trade-off. Yep, I think. Let me see from my screen. Yeah, on a normal screen you can be able to see. Maybe on a phone you won't see, but I think sorry for the folks who are watching on the phone, but you also be listening in, so that'll be okay. Yeah. So without further ado, let's kick it. Welcome, John.
All right. Thank you so much. You said this is better. I hope it's better for everyone. Okay. All right. No worries.
Come to think of it, maybe just go back to the previous one. It's okay. Yeah, I think the book it's cleaner because the other one has the noises of the buttons and all that.
All right. Okay.
That's good.
Awesome. Let's take it off. Chilly. It's chilly. It's a chilly morning, but you are just here chilling with the book. You know, so I guess it's the best time to learn when you're fresh and when you're ready to receive some information just directly. So let's just take it away. Yesterday we recovered something within the book. We covered about TDD, test-driven development, where we saw that for every code that you write, you have to write the test. So, and you have to follow it step by step. So, so you write the test, then you write the code, you write the test, you write the code. That is a flow. So you are not supposed to write any form of code when you don't have a failing test. So you write the test first, then you write the code. Then we talk about practicing, where we saw that there are different form of practicing. You can do personal practice, which was form of using the words of maybe whatever was there, it's kata. So that is personal. Then you can use wasa, where you guys kind of practice together, two of you. And then you have randori, which is similar to mob programming, where you guys come in together and you just chill out. One person can write tests, another person write codes, and you challenge each other. So, and we saw the essence of doing kata, or rather personal practice, is not that you're solving a new problem. It's something that you maybe know that is for personal practice. You can pick a problem and then you practice, you optimize on it, and you're going to learn more as you go on. So, and then we talked about acceptance testing. Acceptance testing, where you saw that it all boils down to communication. You have to make your communication clear so that the business side, they're supposed to make their communication clear to know whatever they want. And as developers also, we are supposed to make it clear also by removing all ambiguity. We talked about you can make a log file saying that it is at midnight, but you have not specified which midnight. Maybe China time, PST, EST. So yeah, removing those ambiguity when you code, it's also it's a big milestone when it comes to software craft. The last thing we discussed is testing strategies, where we saw different form of testing: unit test, component test, integration test, all those form of tests. And as a company, each and every team normally you have to choose a strategy. It's just not a matter of testing. You have to have a strategy on how you test. So without further ado, all the topics that are left, they are ones of the best, so we are going to discuss them. So today we hope to cover time management, as you can see on the screen. Then we have estimation, pressure, collaboration. Then you have teams and projects. How do we create teams, or rather, how do we create that synergy? And then the last chapter is mentorship and apprenticeship, and also craftsmanship. So without further ado, let's take it away. So time management, without pun intended, last we ended on this, so let's continue. So time management, we have 8 hours. So 8 hours is a remarkably short period of time. It is just for 8 minutes or 28,800 seconds. As a professional, you expect that you will use those few precious seconds as efficiently and effectively as possible. So what strategy can you use to ensure that you don't waste the little time you have? How can you effectively manage your time? What I'm going to say, the topics which are in front of us, they are so sweet. I'm tempted to take them slow, but I'm going to keep the pace so that you learn, because these are the things that really affect a software professional. So how do you manage your 8 hours in a day? So number one, meetings. Meetings cost about $200 per hour per attendee. It depends on the company which you are and how much you're paid, but at least $200 per attendee. So it means meetings are expensive. The true truth about meetings is one, meetings are necessary and meetings are a huge time wasters. So why? You're going to see. So professionals are aware of the high cost of meetings. They are also aware that their own time is precious. They have to code. They have code to write and schedule to meet. Therefore, they actively resist attending meetings that do not have immediate and significant benefits. So we are not called to attend all meetings. Yes, meetings are necessary, but number two, you also saw they are huge time wasters. So you do not have to attend every meetings to which you are invited. Indeed, it is unprofessional to go to too many meetings. Like every meeting is there, just you're part of it. Be very careful about which meeting you attend and which you politely refuse. So when you receive a meeting invitation, don't accept unless it is a meeting for which your participation is immediately and significantly necessary to your job, to the job that you're doing now. Sometimes the meeting will be about something that interests you, but it is not immediately necessary. So it can be something that can be interesting, but if at all your presence is not really required in that meeting, it's not a must you attend it. So sometimes meetings will be about something that you can contribute to, but it's not immediately significant to what you are currently doing. You'll have to choose whether the loss of your project is worth the benefit of theirs. So this may sound cynical, but your responsibility is your project first. You have to put your priorities first. The projects come first, whatever you're doing, like whatever you're supposed to build. So sometimes your presence at a meeting will be requested by someone in authority, such as a very senior engineer like Nandaa in another project or manager of a different project. So it is the work of your team and your supervisor to help and make that decision, so that you can make a decision whether to send it or not. So that's why when you have a good manager, they also care about your time. So they're going to either give you a go ahead to attend or not. So when do you leave a meeting? Meeting don't always go as planned. Sometimes you find yourself sitting in a meeting that you would have declined had you known more. So the writer is saying he has developed a simple rule: when the meeting gets boring, he just leaves. But how are you going to leave? Clearly, you cannot just get outside the meeting and say it is boring. Like you just say, guys, your meeting is just so boring. Let me just go. You cannot do that. So you have to explain that you cannot afford more time and ask whether there is a way to either make the discussion to be faster. Sometimes people start discussing on A or B rather than agenda, so you have to make sure that you are communicating and telling them so. So you have to know that you have an obligation to wisely spend your employer time and money. So it's unprofessional to choose an appropriate moment. It is good, or rather, you should choose an appropriate moment or opportune moment to exit from the meeting. Then you excuse yourself and maybe just leave a meeting. If at all your presence is not really needed, you can either ask or rather you can inquire whether your presence is still required within a meeting. Yeah. So before you attend a meeting should have an agenda and a goal. If at all a meeting doesn't have an agenda, kindly don't attend, because most of the time you're just going to hang out. You just see you only have eight hours. So these hours you're trying to maximize on them. So there's something called stand-up meetings. Most tech teams use these kind of meetings, and sometimes we say they are stand-up meetings, but you're sitting. Actually, you should be standing. That is the whole essence of stand-up meeting, because when you're standing, you guys won't stay there for long. So what are the agendas of stand-up meetings? You have to discuss what did I do yesterday, what I did yesterday, what I'm going to do today, and what do you have any form of blocker? Like, do you have anything that is in your way that the team can help you? So this can take, each participant should require no more than 1 minute, or rather just very few minutes. So you want a team of about 14 people, or rather 14 is a large number, but at least let's say 5 or so. So it should not take more than 10 minutes in that stand-up meeting. So it should be very short. So the next type of meeting is iteration planning meeting. Most agile teams use this one because every time you have a sprint, maybe of 2 weeks, and then you come and present, and then you see whether you're still working on the same goal. So iteration planning meetings, they are the most difficult meetings in Agile canon to do well. Done poorly, they take far too much time. It takes skills to make this meeting go well, a skill that is well worth learning. So it can take more time if at all you don't have the skills to manage these meetings. So in a good organization, the acceptance for component testing will already be written. So if at all we have the test running, they will simplify the form of maybe the iteration because all the tests are done. So they won't be tested. Most of the time we do a demo within the iteration meeting. So it takes much more time. So the meeting should proceed quickly with each candidate backlog item being briefly discussed and then either selected or rejected. No more than 5 or 10 minutes should be spent on any given item. So the writer is giving a rule of thumb that if at all you have like 40 hours to work within a week, and that is what we see. So at least 5% of that should be maybe the iteration meeting. So it should be not more than 2 hours, within 2 hours. So within 2 hours in a week, so you can spread that within the graph. Maybe you can take a day, maybe Wednesday or a day, just have the iteration meeting. Then the rest you maximize on working on what is necessary, what is paying the bills. So iteration and and demo. We are talking about demo. So this is, remember, it has only been a week or two, so there shouldn't be all the time to talk about. So most of the sprints occur within two weeks time. So it should take around 20 or 25 minutes to do the demo, and then matters are raising from the issues or the features, then people can work on them. So what we are trying to minimize is the time of meeting as much as possible, so that you can have more time to rework or rather code. Yeah. So arguments and disagreements. Any argument that can't be settled in 5 minutes can't be settled by arguing. The reason it goes on so long is that there is no clear evidence supporting either side. So sometimes you see this form of argument taking longer time because there's no evidence, there's no data. The only thing to do is to get some data, you guys to get some facts. So some folks will try to win an argument by force of character. Yeah, they might yell and get in your face or act condescending. It doesn't matter. The force of will doesn't settle disagreement for long. Data does. So you have to get your facts straight. And we talked about passive aggression. You should never take passive aggression where you just agree to issues within the meeting, and then you're just doing it because you're trying to appease. Like, you're not trying to find the best way possible to tackle a problem. So by doing this, you're being unprofessional, because this is a way just saying, you guys wanted a feature like this, is what I'm going to give you, but you have room to better the you're trying to create a better software, so you have to give your view when you're doing this. So in arguments, it's not more of arguments, you should bring facts in the meetings so that the meetings can be better. So there's something called focus, or rather focus manner. I guess every developer outside there, we have a particular time where our focus is high, where we can do our best work. But we have the 8 hours, but we have that period of time. It can be 4 hours also, where we have this time that we can really focus well. So professional developers learn to manage their time to take advantage of their focus manner. We write code when our focus manner is high, and we do other less productive things when it is not. Focus manner is also a decaying resource. If you don't use it when it's there, you are likely to lose it. That's one of the reasons that meeting can be so devastating, because you are trying to just imagine the time that you really have that focus, and that is the time that the meeting is there. So what you are trying to do is, at the time you have huge focus, you work on whatever the task you have, and then the time that the focus is lesser and lesser, then you can do the meetings. There are people who have a higher focus during the morning, like you can work maybe from maybe 8 to, some people wake up earlier so that they can cover their work, so until maybe lunchtime. Then from there on, you can have maybe some meetings here and there, because maybe the focus gets lesser with time. So it's you to know what is your focus time. There are some people who call that nice.
I can chip in a little bit to just from what has worked for me. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard, like if you're working on a huge team, sometimes it's hard for you to sometimes control the meeting times. And but it's something that you need to sit down with the whole team and try and agree, like, hey, we need to know that meetings are actually, they are means to an end. They're good, but sometimes they can be a distraction, especially if they're just littered everywhere. So like you should have sort of like team agreements that you don't just wake up and litter a meeting in a calendar, like at 8 or 9 or whatever time that you see an empty slot. You have like, maybe say our meeting time will be around this time, like maybe from 2 p.m. onward, or if it's morning. So there's a block that you know it's a meeting time, and then afterwards you just have your whole day. Even sometimes things like stand-ups can end up being a nuisance, because now you're working and then you're going to a stand-up to just talk about what you've done, and then you go back to try and finish what you are doing. So it's just a matter of blocking at the times in maybe like compressing them in a particular way. Yeah, and then so letting people like have their focus time and work on stuff. Yeah. And maybe also like knowing who to bring onto meetings, like not everyone has to attend a meeting. Like if it's you have the hard this time, they say this meeting could have been an email. Yeah, just discuss on like agreeing on a button or something. Why should you have a meeting? Like if you can do it on email, and then the meeting, I don't know what the meeting should be actually. There are people who are just addicted to meetings. They just do meetings without knowing why they're doing them. So it's something that that needs to be fixed. I'm happy, like at least for my team, we don't have that problem, but I've seen it around. And then also my hack is I make sure, for me, I wake up early. I just try to do my work a bit early, so that by the time our meetings start like at around 11 a.m. So at that time I'm already done with almost 3/4 of my day.
Yeah. Awesome. So those are the strategies we are getting. Those are real life.
Yeah.
Also,
but there's a very nice book that by Cal Newport called Deep Work. That's a book that I can recommend. I haven't finished reading it myself, but at least I understand the concept there. But Deep Work is a good book, and also he has done another book called Slow Productivity. I don't know what it's all about. He just launched last week, but it looks like it's an interesting book. So folks can check out those two books.
Yeah, there you go. You have the recommendation of the next books. So we talked about sleep. To have that focus, you have to have a good night's sleep. So folks that work at 3 a.m. or 3, all right, just manage. You have some good time to sleep. That is the time that you can have a focus, a good time to really focus on your work. About caffeine, taking coffee. Yeah, there's some folks who say that they have to take coffee so that they can code. I disagree at some point, but too much of it can send your focus on a very strange direction. A really strong caffeine bath can cause you to waste an entire day hyper-focusing on all the wrong things. So you can become on the zone. like the whole day. Very hyper focused, but working on wrong things. So try to minimize balance on caffeine intake and also coke.
Yeah, just make sure that you're not an addict. Like try and like let's say not take caffeine for coffee for like 3 days and see if you're okay. To know whether you're an
Yeah.
addict or not. Yeah. So you shouldn't be an addict to these things. Like these things can control you. And actually, when you're towards your old age, that's when they say the chicken come home roosting. Yeah, you must start getting those perennial like those terminal illnesses.
Mm-hmm.
Failures stuff. Yeah, when you're young you can play around with those things, but once you get old things start getting like things start getting real. Yeah.
And we are
So
looking
yeah,
at the
for me I think
GT.
I've tried to I used to have cafe like coffee every time. Like at the office we have like coffee, we have a place where we can buy coffee. So I will just go there and take a mocha just by formality. But I noticed like, wait, I think I'm getting used to this thing. Let me try and cut it down. And I managed to cut it down, but just check whether you're addicted so that it doesn't get into problems, health problems. We still
Yeah.
need you around, right code. Still need you around, right code, and also guide others like in the old age. As you said, you need longevity in this field.
Yeah. That is the personally anything that can addict me, like I just cut it out. It's better I take water and use my focus time. At some point, you'll have that focus time. So we say don't try to force that you have a focus time which you don't have at that moment. So when you're taking coffee, what like you're there hyper focused, but maybe you're not doing the right thing. So just try to keep it as natural as possible. Like you can go and work in a desert or somewhere where there's no coffee or something of the sort. So so just keep it natural. If it's water, take water, hydrate. So recharging, but I know that is there are folks who say I have to take coffee. Okay, but here you go. We have given you the advice. So recharging, focus manner can be partially recharged by defocusing. So you can try to take. We said that take some time, know when to leave the coding phase. Sometimes you're coding there, you have a mental block. So just take some time off, like you can take some minutes, listen to a podcast or something, like attend this book review, just listening, and yeah, read a magazine, what is up on the tech. Yeah. So we have something called master focus.
And I
So
just quick time check, 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow, the time is going fast. Remaining, okay. So muscle focus. When you work on our muscles, or rather when we exercise, we get better. We have that focus. So it's good you find something physical activity there outside to go. You can go hiking. You can do some gym. There are some people who do gym daily. So input versus output. Whatever you feed in, it's whatever you garbage in, garbage out. So if you feed on creativity, something that will boost your creativity, that's what you're going to give out. So there's time boxing and tomatoes. Here the writer was talking about Pomodoro technique. So these are technique that I've used, though of late I've not been using that, but it's why you take 25 minutes, you place your timer, then on the 25 minutes you concentrate, no interruptions there. If at all you get a call within the team or work on something, just you can tell them I'll call you back after 25 minutes or so. Then after the 25 minutes you have a break of about 5 minutes, then you do it again, another 25, another break of 5, another 25, another break of 5, so that you can have you have that time, 5 minutes, where you can, if at all you're working on a team, you can have those distractions, like show me this. So you we said there's nothing like getting in the zone, like where you don't want to be disturbed. you're a team player. So those 5 minutes you can help a colleague, and then you get back to your 25 minutes focus time. So avoidance is trying to manage your time. So just avoid as much as possible anything that can waste your time. There's something here called priority inversion. Something that it affects many guys. So you find ways to avoid doing the real work. You convince yourself that something else is more urgent, and you do that instead. This is called priority inversion. You raise the priority of a task so that you can postpone the task that has the true priority. You're working on mini task, but there's a particular task, either you're avoiding it because you're seeing it's either uncomfortable to you, it's boring, or it's scary, like it's huge, like it's complex. So you'll find other minimal tasks to work on. Maybe you try and start updating maybe on the software, but there's some tasks that you should work on. So you're inverting your priority to other stuff. So by doing that, you're professional.
That's an interesting thing.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Yeah, this is interesting because clearly you're unprofessional, because this you're going to convince yourself you're doing the work, because if at all someone finds you doing the other updating the software, you're still working, yes, but you're avoiding the real work that you should be doing. So disregarding their personal fears and desires. So these are professionals evaluate the priority of each task, disregard their personal fears and desires, and execute those tasks in priority order. So you have to stick to the priority. Either it's hard, it's boring, it's scary, you have to do it. Don't try kind of avoid it. Actually, I found myself in this cocoon, like where you find a task here. Yeah, all right, this can take me some time. Let me just work on the simple task, then I will come back. You're just storing it back, postponing it. But you should work on the priority task. So there's something called blind alleys. They are the facts that for the software craftsman, sometimes you make a decision and wander down a technical path that leads to nowhere. The rabbit hole. Yeah? You just get into the rabbit hole, you're trying to, the solution, you're trying to hack things out, and you find yourself in a mess, like in a hole. You're just digging up. It's like the quicksand. The more you try to get out, the deeper you go. So professionals avoid getting so vested in an idea and that they can abandon it and turn around. They keep an open mind about other ideas so that when they hit a dead end, they still have other options. So don't just focus. At least before you start maybe solving a problem, you have an idea how you're going to solve it. But at some point, you go to that path and find a dead end. So you have to retract back and find another option. So sometimes you dig yourself down until there's no way you're coming up. So just keep your mind open to the solutions that can come in. There's something called marshes, bogs, swamps, and messes. Something I'm going to cover here is mostly the messes. The messes is it's when you're working on something, and then let me just find the worse than blind alleys are messes. Messes slow you down, but don't stop you. So these messes impede your progress, but you can still make progress through sheer brute force. Messes are worse than blind alleys because you can always see the way forward, and it is always look shorter than the way back. So I've seen products ruined and companies destroyed by software messes. I've seen productivity of teams decrease from jitterbug to Dodge in just a few months. You're working on a code base, and the more you go deeper, you find that the design of that, the way you have designed the code base is not the best way possible. But going back, you're seeing, hey, I've written some couple of lines, like 300 lines of code, or rather 3,000, or rather 1,000. So you see yourself going back, it is much harder. They say, let me just push brute force all the way through. So you're going to create a software which is not well designed. So it is going to create a mess eventually. But now, the worst part of it, in a mess, you can still push your way through every time. Like you're going to, okay, it's not well designed. I can couple these things out. At the end, you're going to find yourself in spaghetti code. So avoid being in a mess. So, in the conclusion, software professionals are diligent in their management of time and focus. They understand the temptation of priority inversion, which you have seen, and fight it in the matter of honor. So don't just try to go to the easier path, taking easier task. Take the priorities right. Like if at all a task is to be done, do it for your honor. They keep the options open by keeping an open mind about alternate solution. So there's no sadder sight than a team of software developers fruitlessly slogging through an ever-deepening bog. Yeah, there's a testimony of another developer, engineer, who said that he was working on a very big team and they worked on a project where it was getting deeper and deeper. The dependencies were getting even larger and larger within 2 years or so. And then at the end of the 2 years, then that's the time they realized that we are working on a messy, like we are on a slippery slope. So we should avoid the messes so that we can save on time and also the company's time. So the next topic is estimation. So estimation is one of the simplest, yes, most frightening activities that software professionals face. Estimating. It is a primary weight that has been driven between businesses, people, and developers. It is the source of nearly all distrust that rules the relationship. This is what can break a relationship between colleagues or other businesses and also developer, because the aspect of promising. Here the other was to make a particular. He was working on a task, and then he had promised that he would do the task within a month, but it took him 3 months. He's saying that I have only been drunk 2 times in my life, and only really drunk once. It was at this tendering Christmas party in 1978. I was 26 old. You're not advocating for drinking it. But this writer, you can see from this picture, this is the picture that is describing him. He's the one here and then the manager. Because he had promised that he could have done the task within 1 month, but it took him three months. So I was sitting cross-legged on the floor with Ken, the boss, and weeping how long. So he was drunk first. Weeping how long the vectorization job was taking me. The alcohol had released my pants up tears, fears, and insecurity about my estimate. I don't think my boss. I think my head was in his lap, but my memory just isn't very clear about the kind of details. I do remember asking him if he was mad at me and if he thought that it was taking me too long. And the boss said, yes, it's taking you long, but I can see that you're working hard on it and making good progress. It's something that we really need, so I'm not mad. So something about commitments, about how we estimate time. What is an estimate? An estimate, the problem is that we view estimates in different ways. Business like to view estimate as commitments. Developers like to view estimate as guesses. The difference is profound. On our side, we see guessing like will be done in 2 months, 1 month, but the business is seeing a commitment that the developer will finish it in 1 month. So what is the difference? A commitment is something that you must achieve. If you commit to getting something done by a certain date, then you simply have to get it done by that date. So if it means working on holidays, working on your family time, so if you have committed to do it, you have to do it. So professionals don't make commitments unless they know they can achieve them. It is really that simple. Don't make commitments if you cannot achieve them. So commitment is about certainty. Missing a commitment is an act of dishonesty and slightly less like a lie, telling a lie. So an estimate. What is an estimate? An estimate is a guess. No promise is made. Missing an estimate is not in any way dishonorable. So an estimate is not a number. An estimate is a distribution. So an estimate is guess I'll be done. High probability I'm going to finish it in 2 days. But that does not mean that in 2 days you have finished whatever you're working on. It can take 3 days, it can take 4 days. So the best thing is to give an estimate. So here is Mike talking with Peter. Mike is telling, when will you be done with the Frazo task in 3 days? What is your estimate for completing 3 days? But Mike is asking, can you put a number on it? About 50-60% will be done in 3 days. So there's a good chance that you take it, it will go to the 4th day. In fact, yes, it may even take 5 or 6, though I doubt it. So we are starting to hone that. The truth is, an estimate is a distribution, is not an exact time, it's a probability. So this is a graph of maybe what Mike is telling, they're discussing with Peter. So Peter is saying that I can be done within 3 days. So you can see here, there is a higher 50%, and then it goes that way until 11 days. So it's a distribution, implied commitment. So but you can see here that implied commitments. So Peter, okay, let me see. Now, Mike, Peter, can you give me a hard date when you'll be done? So now, Mike, like I said, I will probably be done in 3, maybe 4 days. Can we say 4 days? No, it can maybe 5 or 6. So everyone is trying to be fair on this. So Mike has already asked for a commitment. Peter has carefully declined to give him one. So because he's not sure. And then Mike says, okay, Peter, but can you try to make it no more than 6 days? And then if at all Peter says, I will try. In chapter 2, we saw the heaviness of saying I will try. Because when you say I will try, you're committing. Like you're saying, I will do it. Like you will try. It means you have some energy stored somewhere. So you're going to work. So we have different ways, methods that we can use to give appropriate or rather plan a distribution or probability. There is one called PAT, Program Evaluation and Review Technique. It's called PAT. So here we have a consideration of, we are going to do some probability, just a little bit. There are 3 dates: optimistic estimate, then we have nominal estimate, then pessimistic estimate. So for Peter, what the optimal or the optimistic, the good path, the good side, you're saying that he can finish the task within 1 day. But the nominal estimate is about 3 days. And the pessimistic is the worst case scenario, about 12 days. So there is a formula here. This was called mu. Mu, then you have the optimal, nominal, and then you have the pessimistic. So you take one optimal plus 4 times the nominal estimate plus the pessimistic. Then you divide by 6 because there are 6 items now, because it's 4 plus 1 plus the other one. So 6. So here is where the maths genius comes in. If at all you're good with math, so if at all you calculate, you get that in this case, an estimate comes, the mu is 4.2 days. And when you do the standard deviation, or rather to see how the task can go, you take now the pessimistic, you minus the optimistic time, and then you divide by 6 to get 1.8 days. So that is the estimate. So it can take 4.2 over 1.8. So an estimate of 4 days. So it can take even 5 days, 6, or even 9. So it's not a hard, or rather a set time. It's a distribution. So let's say Peter is working on other tasks. You can see here there's a nominal of 1.5. This is the first one, which was 1, 3, and 12. Then we have another task. Let's call it beta and gamma, you see. So they are there. So when you're giving estimate, you have to put in mind that there are other tasks that you're working on. So, you give an estimate, but like for me personally, right now, I have several projects that I'm working on. If I have a new task, I'll have to consider all the other tasks that I have so that you can give an estimate. What we are avoiding is to give a commitment, but you give a probability. So when you combine all the tasks, you find that the omega, was this called rho or something, is coming to 3.13, the standard deviation of those. So an estimate of three, 3 days plus we have 12 is the mathing. But we had 3 days, we have other tasks. So when you combine these tasks and you add the deviation, you find that it is going to take at least 17 days or 20 days when you add all the tasks that they are needed. So what we are getting in mind, you have to find the best way to estimate tasks, but don't commit to a time that you are not sure that you're going to find it. So there are various ways that you can estimate the task. The user had proposed several. One is whiteboard Delphi. Is where you get a team of people to assemble and discuss the task and estimate the task and iterate the discussion and estimation until they reach an agreement. So you have a task, you have a project you're working on, the teams comes in, you guys iterate around that until you find the best time. Then there is the flying fingers. The flying finger is more like paper, rock, scissors. But you discuss the task, then you put your hands below the table, and then at one point, the person who can count 1, 2, 3, and then you remove your hands. If I tell you had agreed 40 days or 30 days, then you can take maybe 3. Another person can take 2 or 3. So you have to find within that distribution, you find which is the best time, the estimate of that time. So if at all, the estimate is just, it's not a must that everybody become like you take 4 at times. One can take 3 or 2, but if at all you guys take 4, and then one person takes one hand, then he has to say why, or why maybe he can do the task even in a lesser time. So there's a planning poker. Planning poker is similar to that, but use cards. You have the cards, number 1, 3, or 10. So you discuss a task, then you lift your card. What is the estimate? Then you find a distribution within those teams, and then you find an estimate of that time. So any card moved more than the other one is affinity estimation, where you place the task and then with the cards. So every time the people will come and see the cards, and then they try to move the cards according to what they expect that task would take. So the card which is moved the most, that is the one which is discussed, so that they can see whether there is how they can estimate. So there's something called the law of large numbers. When you break up large tasks into many small tasks and estimate them independently, the sum of the estimate of small tasks will be more accurate than a single estimate of a larger task. Let's say you're working on a big software. You have to break it into modules and then to tasks. Then you give those tasks the estimate. That will be much more correct than giving the whole project like an estimate of 3 months. Breaking it down will be much better. So professional software developers know how to provide the business with practical estimates that the business can use for planning purposes. They do not make promises that they cannot keep. They don't make commitments that they aren't sure they can meet. So you give, this is something that you learn when you're doing. You cannot run it. You cannot just sit down and just learning. You learn it when you have task working and you have to give an estimate. So you learn on the flying pan. So, but those whatever I talked about, the cards, those are what the writer have used, the task and what. But you can find better ways to estimate your task. So you're going to talk about
before you proceed.
All right.
You have 4 chapters to go. 10 minutes. You have a gun on your head. Tell me the most important bits in 5 minutes. With a gun on your head,
So,
what did you do in 5 minutes? Rush through the four chapters.
okay. So let me just give a summary
5
of
minutes,
them.
or you'll be short. You'll be short at the 6th minute if you're still talking.
So, pressure. When you talk about pressure, you have to manage your pressure. Number one. We have doctors who work on bodies on what doing surgery. They have to be confident. You have to know you're disciplined. You have to avoid pressure. Whatever I took here is creating a discipline. Like you have to write the test. If at all something happens, like you're working on a software and there is a lot of pressure, don't do away with your discipline. Stick to your discipline. Write the test. If I tell you refactor code, refactor it, and don't panic, because at the moment you panic, then it's going to be hell on you. And then make sure you communicate with the parties involved. Then the other one is collaboration. You must be a team player. Here I got something to do with work on your attitude, because attitude is everything when you're in a team. Like you're not supposed to work in a silo. Work in a team. Be the team player. Then you have team and projects. You have to create a synergy within a team. Like there's something I got here that teams are hard to build than projects. So even projects, they are not hard. Teams are the ones which are hard to build. So you have to, this is where now the magic comes in. Like creating a team which has a lot of synergy. Like, this person is strong with this person is strong in this. When you work together, you're working as a team. Like a football team, you have the attackers, you have the defenders. When you have that synergy, then you're good to go. Then finally, last chapter about mentoring and apprenticeship and craftsmanship. So you have to find a mentor. The writer was saying during the 70s, it was so hard to find a mentor. You have to find a mentor who can guide you. Like they have already passed through all those things of pressure, time management. They can guide you better. Like now Nandaa can tell me, I was working on this project. This happened. We never made this. This is how we communicated. So finding a mentor will kind of try and make your journey to be much better. And then apprenticeship, it's more of learning when you're working, learning on the job. And just to take it briefly, there's something here we're going to. So apprenticeship, it's where you learn. There's a discipline of medicine. They have found a way. Like they re-mentor there. Before you become a doctor, you have to pass through those internship, and then you have to be under a mentor. You have to be under those people. So at the end of maybe 8 years, you are now a doctor. Like you can now, they can trust you with life. So the same thing. Why? Like IT is everywhere now. We are using it on planes, on techs, on hospitals. Why can we not be that way? That is what the writer was talking about. So in the same case, IT, because it's everywhere, it's like we're dependent on it. We have to find the same way. So we have masters within this field. Masters are programmers who have taken the lead on more than one significant software project. Typically, they have 10 plus years. They have experience. They have worked on several projects, several languages, several code bases. So these people, they are so vital because they are supposed to pass this knowledge they have to the journeymen. The journeymen, they are programmers who are trained, competent, and energetic. During this period of their career, they will learn to work well in a team and to become team leaders. I think I'm here. I'm a journeyman. so journeymen, they're people who are learning. Like they have an experience, maybe 5 years or 4 there. Like they are learning they are very energetic. And then we have finally the apprenticeship, the interns rather. These are people who are fresh from school, So these people learn from the journeyman, and then when they want to graduate to the journeyman, they have to be supervised by the masters. So the masters now approves that this person can now become a journeyman. So that is the reality. So, so who is a craftsman? So this is the last definition, because this is what Nandaa was requesting. So, so now we are in a position to define this word craftsmanship. Just what is it to understand? Let's look. We have been discussing it the whole book. So it evokes craftsmanship is the mindset. It evokes experience and competence. A craftsman is someone who works quickly but without rushing, who provides reasonable estimate and meets commitment. A craftsman knows what to say, when to say no. We learned that, but tries to say yes. A craftsman is a professional. You have been learning, becoming a professional. So when you're a professional, then you are a craftsman. So craftsmanship is a mindset held by craftsmen. Craftsmanship is a meme that contains values, discipline, and techniques, attitudes, and answers. In the conclusion, you're saying you cannot make someone a craftsman. The only way you can make someone, you cannot convince someone to become a craftsman. The only thing you can do is become one, and then people are going to see that this person is a craftsman. Like, I really want to learn. It's viral. Like when I see maybe Nandaa is a craftsman, I'm going to learn from him, and then I'm going to become better and a professional. So that marks the end of our book.
Yes, you did it. Nice. Thanks so much. So I think this was awesome. So and of course I told guys that you'll have another 15-minute segment. It won't be a live session, but a recorded session of where you just synthesize all these ideas in one 15-minute segment, saying your takeaways from the book, the very key takeaways, and how the book has affected your life and
Yes, affected me. Now I'm better. My mindset is changed. I hope everyone had a good time discussing this.
Yeah, sure. So looking forward to that. And I know today we didn't have many folks online, but they'll be watching it. So if you're watching this, remember this is your community. You're welcome to come also and review any of the books that you're reading, any nice technical books that you're reading. We're trying to perfect the format. This one, I'm also doing a series on craftsmanship, the software craftsmanship book that I'm yet to finish two sections. So we are trying to master like the best way. I know it's been long, 4 sessions, 4 hours basically, but over time we will perfect the craft of how to present without losing any of because the why John has been going on to this data so that we don't lose any of the niceties that is there, because he's just trying to summarize. So it's a very big balance you have to play around. So you go in, if you haven't watched, I'll link all the sections on the description of this video. Go in, listen in, and see whether it's a book worth your time. And hopefully you read it also. Also reading by your own is also a good thing, so that you can be able to reflect better. Yes. So, and by the way, just a quote from this is a quote from Cynthia. If you've been watching our live sessions,
okay.
So this is a quote from Cynthia, and I just read it I thought it was a very powerful thing that she said. That books are good for reflection, since it takes a long time. So, like the basically what she meaning was that reading a book versus listening to a talk, a book is much better because it takes time for you to read the book, and in between you're sort of reflecting on what you're reading, and therefore you're internalizing everything, as opposed to just listening to something and then you forget. Like, but how many talks have you listened to, like conferences you've listened to? But if I asked you to give me the key takeaways, you might not give me, but books that you've read, you will always have like, I remember this book, I think what I took away from this book was this and that and that. So books are good. So folks, if you're not into reading, this is a challenge for you. It's really good for your reflection. Nice. That's the end. I'm looking forward to the synthesis. I know it's gonna be a nice one.
Yeah, this has been an awesome series. So thank you so much for having me on this platform.
Yeah, and I appreciate your time. It takes time to prepare these things, and I don't take it for granted. I really appreciate your time and you offering to do this. I remember we starting off, we are saying, can you just do like a recorded version, and then we talk.
Yeah.
Then we were like wondering what should we do. Then we said, let's do it. Let's do live. And then we thank you for offering to say like let's do it.
Yeah. Like it's good to get out of the cave and just meet people and you discuss. You get much better.
Yeah, different.
By sharing, I learn voice.
Exactly. Yeah. So folks, if you'll be watching this, looking forward to your comments, your what you think about this session, the format and everything. We're getting better, and hopefully this will be the one-stop shop. If you want to know anything about technical books and stuff. Peace. All right, peace, and have a good day. Have a good day.
All right.